rock. Draft a quarterback, you know that's good at throwing dots. The right wide out can put a team's lights out. Scoring one play because he ran the right route. A good kicker get you 6 on a field goal. I like to trap it on the waiver, that's a real goal. PPL is like a game of chess. You need to think ahead to have a chance to be the best, and that is facts. It's a war between the alpha and omega. More intense than Street Fighter on the Sega. Your team is weak, it's time to make a couple trades. Get a player off the waiver just to plug them in and play. Do whatever that it takes so you can win it. Make it to the ship so you can say that you were in it. If you don't win it, then it means you're number 2, and number 2 ain't number 1, so number 2 ain't good enough. Just means you couldn't get it done. You had a run but couldn't finish. So when next year comes, I hope you're doing something different. Plan to make it to the top, you need to build right. Make a trade to win the game as if it feels right. 25 is here, the new year starts, draft night. Hope that you're ready for the fight like Friday night lights. Keep the enemy in sight, try to beat them like you might. Yeah, fantasy is back and PPL is where it's at. PPL is where it's at. The wait is finally over, PPL is finally back. Everybody ready, trying to be the next champ. Yeah, you know the show is starting when you hear the new rap. Welcome back to the twins, to the gaff and the gods, to the boss. Trade 50 in the squad, to the plays, baby gas, Argonauts and the skulls. We've been waiting too long, man, it's finally time to ball. Yeah, it's time to get it on.
And here we are. We have officially hit the halfway point of our 14-week regular season, Week 7 PPL Live. Gino the Gent here with my man Ulysses S. Hate, ready to get you into it. But before we get into Week 7, let's take a look back at Week 6. Starting with the Skulls getting it done in a classic matchup, 141 to the Argonauts 136. The Gaff Attack get it done in the prestige matchup of the week with a big win over their Alpha Conference counterparts. 128 to Squad Underestimators 119. I Need About Trey Fitty needed a win and they got it. 138 to the United Players 103. Kev's TNT starting to make winning a trend. 2 in a row, get the big win. 107 to the Twins 86. And Appease the Gods leaves no doubt. Winners of 4 straight. Officially the hottest team in the PPL, continuing their dominance. 161 to only for the Bosses 69. Man, what did you think of this week's action?
I mean, this was really just great interconference warfare.
Right.
Going down to the wire, and it's really shaping up some divisional play that's going to be coming up. I loved it.
No, definitely, man, definitely. But let's take one more look at Week 6, and to do that, we know we got to go to our good, our bad, and our ugly. All right, man, good, bad, ugly. Let's hear it. Week 6, good, bad, and ugly.
I mean, you hit off. I mean, Peace of God's leading, no doubt, this week. And,
right.
They did it in fashion. 5 guys going over 20 points.
Yeah.
Just really saw production everywhere. What made this sweeter is what happened to other teams in the Omega. And effectively, right now, I mean, Omega is all tied up. All 5 teams are 2-2 in divisional play.
Right.
And so Peace of the Gods is getting hot at the right time. And they just had a great week. It really shook out well for them.
Oh, definitely, man. Definitely, man. High scoring week for ATG, really showing that scoring potential, something that they're going to need down the stretch in the PPL. Who is your bad?
My bad's going to go to the Twins.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to say it uncharacteristically. I'm going to say bad starts this week.
Yeah.
When I look at this lineup, I mean, I get picking up a Trey Sermon to handcuff for Jonathan Taylor. You don't want anybody else to get that.
Yeah.
But when you have Najee Harris against this Las Vegas team that has been pretty terrible, I think you have to go that start. But the one that was more shocking to me was Kirk Cousins.
Okay.
I get it. She kind of, I think, got baited into this Carolina matchup, thinking that might be juicy. And guess what? It was.
Yeah.
These guys put up 38 points. It's just Kirk really didn't have to do much.
Yeah.
And
he was a bus driver.
When you saw what Brock was doing early on, it was like, oof, that really put a lot of pressure on the position. You know, you see other guys. Keenan finally got involved. I think I would have went Austin Eckler even.
Yeah.
I mean, again, she got caught up in this Dallas Cowboy stuff. It was just a really bad week. I think that, again, Kev's TNT continues to play spoil sport, and he catches another one. And you know what? I'm impressed. I'm going to say honorable mention here. STNT, I mean, this is 3 wins against original
5
PPL
teams.
franchises.
Yeah.
And so, hey, welcome to the league. Love what you're doing out
Doing a great
there.
job, man. Doing a great job. And who's your ugly?
My ugly this week, man, I'm going to go UP. And
Okay.
it's for a few reasons. The UP, as I look at things like, again, the week was the week. I don't even think the Commanders coach was a terrible call.
Right.
What I'm going to say is ugly right now is how he's managing this team. As I look at, we're hitting buys, so your bench depth is really starting to factor.
Right.
He's got Hollywood Brown, Isaiah Pacheco, and Rashee Rice on the bench who are likely not going to play again this season. I get keeping 1, maybe even 2 of these guys, but he's got way too much of his bench invested in guys who are not going to suit up this season. He's got a good enough team to do something, and
Yeah.
Omega's open enough that he absolutely could. And so, to me, it's just UP is doing what he does. He's mismanaging his team and his talent.
Right.
And again, he needs to get right now if he wants to be competitive down the stretch.
No, man, I agree with you. United players, who I thought had an awesome draft. I mean, got really bit hard by that injury bug, but they've got to do better with some of their decisions. My good for this week, man, is a team that I was really impressed with how they ended the week, and that's the Skulls. Great plays by J.K. Dobbins. Tyrone Tracy Jr. was a great spot start. Zay Flowers really kept them in it early on, and they had a great performance from that Houston defense. Obviously, Josh Allen finally got back to form, and the Skulls got a much-needed win, putting them at 4-2, like you said, in that dogfight in the Omega Conference. So hats off to the Skulls for a big-time win and a game that they really, really needed. They're a team that definitely, who I didn't think was going to do good, who is starting to show what they got, and they're showing different revenues of scoring, so that's great for them. My bad for this week, I actually agree with you, man. It's Patty's Twins. No need to go away from keepers. I mean, I'm counting Brock Purdy and Keenan Allen, as well as Austin Eckler, among 3 keepers that are sitting on the bench. Najee Harris was one of their better draft picks. He was a guy that probably, being that Jonathan Taylor was hurt, should have been first in line to get the spot start. Those decisions ended up costing the Twins, and it cost them a matchup that they could have won rather easily. So the Twins really got to get back on track. They know it's bad, but this is a franchise that's done great things, and I think that there's still great things in their future. So that's why it's only bad. And my ugly, man, is a team that really bottomed out this week. And that's only for the boss, man. 69.8 points in a big-time matchup. That was a big interconference matchup. Daniel Jones, 11.8. Zach Moss, -1. Jerome Ford, 1.4. No one was interested in playing outside of Deebo Samuel, who got most of that on a 77-yard touchdown. Other than that, only for the boss really got no production. And it looked really bad. Now, Mahomes and Kelsey get back into that lineup, but let's be real. They haven't been lighting the scoreboard up for the boss. And things could get real ugly if the scoring trend continues down. They do get Kyron Williams back. That's one bright spot, but other than that, it was relatively an ugly week for the boss. And they're going to need to get back on track this upcoming week. But as I always tell you guys, what's past is prologue. It's time to get going. It's time to get into week 7 of PPL action. And we start with our first matchup, a real candidate for the prestige matchup of the week. But no, we're going to kick it off a different way. We're going to go with the Skulls going up against Squad Underestimated. All right, man, so both of these teams are tied for the best record in the league at 4-2. The Skulls come in with Josh Allen. Squad Underestimated comes in at 4-2 after losing a squeaker in the prestige matchup to the Gaff Attack. What do you think of this one, man? A big one in the PPL. We got the Skulls taking on Squad Underestimated.
Yeah, I mean, this one, I think I was actually surprised that this was not the prestige matchup of the week.
Right.
Skulls getting the big win last week, and Squad again losing their death grip on or really a gap out opportunity. I'll say it that way.
Yeah.
When I look at this week, I think that this is going to be one of the more competitive matchups. Squad needs to go get a coach. I don't think that they have a good enough go here. When I look at the Bengals should take care of Cleveland.
Yeah.
I absolutely love what Josh Allen should do against Tennessee. when I look at this and I look at the bench depth and the point rankings right now, I mean, this matchup is all tilted to squad. But again, I don't think that I thought we saw some of the chinks in some of Saquon and Alvin Kamara last week. That maybe some of that early hype is starting to slow down. Some of the leagues starting to catch up with these guys.
Okay.
I mean, Tyreek Hill and company, I'm not buying Miami right now just because until I see what we're going to see with that quarterback situation,
right,
or if Tua's coming back, we don't know.
Yeah.
The thing here is, I mean, I don't love this Houston matchup at Green Bay.
Okay. Fair.
I think that's where he's going to struggle. And again, he's got to go find a head coach. And so there's just a little bit too much uncertainty for me on this matchup this week.
Yeah.
And I think that the Skulls, they get this one. I'm going to say that the Skulls go 130 to Squad's 122.
Okay. Man, this is a pretty good matchup. I do really like it. I do think that Houston's going to run into a few more problems in Green Bay, but I think C.J. Stroud's still going to have a relatively good game unless the weather gets really bad or something. It was pretty rainy out there last week. Alvin Kamara is going to get into the action tomorrow against Denver. He's going to be bottled up a little bit more because the New Orleans Saints wide receivers are banged up. Olave's out, as well as Rashid Shaheed. Obviously, the starting quarterback's out, so that puts all the pressure on Kamara. Defenses are going to key on him. You're absolutely correct about that, Ulysses. I'm also looking at Stephon Diggs. I really like his connection with C.J. Stroud, and I like the Tony Pollard play, but I think that Buffalo's defense also may be trying to turn the corner, even though I thought that the Jets were able to do some good things. Now, on the Skull side, man, They showed some real potential in scoring, and that was without Jamar Chase having a relatively good game. Zay Flowers really came out and got busy in that matchup last week against the Argo. They're getting Ramondre Stevenson into the lineup, and they're really hoping to get Aaron Jones back, who's been one of their best players in their franchise's history. Now, Josh Allen really showed why he's the MVP of their team on Monday night. They needed 17. He got them 22. I like the Cincinnati coach against Cleveland. Being that Cleveland looks like they're imploding, and I just like really probably the Skulls a little bit more around it. Now, if Squad Underestimated goes out and gets a coach, I think that they have a pretty good shot at this. But at the end of the day, I think I'm with you, man. I got the Skulls winning this matchup behind probably a big performance from J.K. Dobbins on Monday night against that Arizona run defense. I got the Skulls winning this matchup 138 to Squad Underestimated's 132. And moving on to our next matchup, we go into our notes, interconference matchup, a big matchup, a founders matchup here. We got Appease the Gods going up against the Argonauts. All right, man, big one here. We got Lamar Jackson going into this one, going up against Justin Jefferson, George Kittle, and Cooper Kupp, who looks like he might be healthy to go into this matchup. Obviously, Bijan Robinson finally broke out with a big game. Terry McLaurin is getting his feet wet with Jaden Daniels, and Tank Dell looks like he's going to be a big part of that Houston offense, man. Who you got in this one? ATG Argo.
Yeah, I mean, both of these teams are trending, and they're trending in opposite directions. ATG, hottest team in the league. Argo, inexplicably, losers of 4 straight, still the highest scoring team by 50 points. But this is it. Is teams come to play when they face the Argo, and I think that ATG brings the talent this week, especially with question marks at the quarterback position for the Argos. We don't know where he's going to go yet, and so I'm going to give this one my lock of the week, barring a big blockbuster trade, and that makes this happen. Not to say that the Argos not going to score this week, has all the pieces in place here. My thing is that Achane's been somewhat limited again, the Miami situation. James Cook should be coming back from the injury. Cooper Kupp should be coming back from the injury. And he doesn't have Aubrey, who's been the best kicker in the league. And so he's missing some key pieces. When I look at the other side, I mean, Lamar's playing an MVP-type campaign.
Right.
You mentioned it. Bijan Robinson getting dumb. David Montgomery's looking, like he was, a quality draft pick, but that ATG clearly should have kept that guy. And with the contract getting signed, it looks like he's going to be a fixture in that Detroit offense going forward,
right,
which I think means that maybe they're not going to be transitioning the reins over to Jahmyr Gibbs in the way that we thought that they maybe were going to.
Okay.
You said it. McLaren shows why he was kept, and Tank Dell with Nico Collins out should
he's going to be a big
I think,
beneficiary
going forward. Brian Robinson, we're hearing, is after missing last week, coming back healthy. I love the Bills coach against Tennessee. I think that ATG has everything going. And again, opposite trend for ATG. They've been the team with the lowest points put up against them. And when I look at the matchup this week, I think that trend holds, and ATG is able to hold a reasonable lead here.
Yeah.
I've got ATG winning this matchup 122 to the Argos 108.
All right. I think I'm gonna go the other way here. I know the Argonauts don't have a quarterback yet, but I'm sure whoever they put in there will probably be more competent than Dak Prescott was last week at 0. So I think that they can only go up at quarterback from here. But let's talk about it. The meat of that lineup got him 136 last week, even without sufficient quarterback play. I like the Cincinnati play against Cleveland. Cleveland's traded away their best players. I mean, there's nowhere to really go. Now, Nick Chubb does get back into that lineup. It's going to be interesting to see how he plays. But I think Cincinnati's in a position to get a lot of sacks and potential interceptions against Cleveland. I do agree with you on ATG side, though. Love that Buffalo head coach against Tennessee. Buffalo looked like they got back on track against the Jets. That's a team that they're in their division, but it's a tougher game. So for them to get Tennessee the next week, Buffalo wants to stack those wins. I'm with you on David Montgomery, man, but that Minnesota defense has been one of the tougher defenses in the league, so it's not going to be a cakewalk for him like it might have been going against Dallas's Swiss cheese defense. Love Lamar on Monday night. Now, on the Argonauts side, I don't know if we see Cook or Achane this week. I really, really like Chase Brown. I thought he gives a jolt to that Cincinnati offense in the running game that Zach Moss does not. Going to be interesting to see if the Argonauts go with Devontae Adams or Cooper Kupp. But I think both of those guys are going to be target hogs in their matchup. The matchup that the Argonauts might really need to worry about, I think, might be George Kittle. But at the end of the day, I think that the scoring average is kind of whole for the Argonauts. I think they still have another big week, and they snap their 4-game winning streak and snap ATG's, or 4-game losing streak and snap ATG's 4-game winning streak. I got the Argonauts in a big upset. 131 to ATG's 128. And moving on to our next matchup, we go into a big one for the Pantheon Cup champions. They need to get back on track, but another team needs about Trey Fitty. We got a big one. We got the Gaff Attack going up against Trey Fitty. All right, man, big one here. Gaff Attack, Trey Fitty. We got Jalen Hurts against Jalen Daniels. Jahmyr Gibbs against Breece Hall. We got some star power in this one, man. A big one here. What do you think of this one?
I mean, you said it. This is star power. This one to me is the one that puts the leave no doubt total up this week.
Okay.
And when I look at it, I think it's going to be the Gaff, man. When I see Jalen Hurts and Philly again going against the New York Giants, I think that's just what the doctor is going to order here. And I'm going to counter you. I think that Detroit and what we saw, what they just did, I mean, Minnesota's a much different beast, but I think that Detroit is really a cohesive offense and has a lot of options.
Fair
and
enough.
again, they play well in a dome. And even traveling to Minnesota, I think that they've got the firepower to do something about that. I think that the Seattle-Atlanta game also has a lot of potential for big points.
Okay.
And so I think that all around, I like the Packers' defense, again, number one against Houston. I think CJ and company might come back to earth a little bit. I love what the Gaff has. Now, on the other side, Jaden Daniels should really get going against Carolina, and I like that Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson finally kind of woke up. We'll have to see what the Adams trade does to Wilson's ability. But, again, I'm not loving James Conner last week.
Okay.
Deontay Johnson, I like that he's getting into the lineup. But there's just I'm not also digging the Broncos coach at New Orleans.
Okay.
But we'll see. I think that this game, though, the Gaff puts on a show. I think we all sit back and see it. I got the Gaff going 155 to I need about Trey Fitty's 137. I think this one's entertaining.
Okay. And I'm going the other way completely on this one. I actually love Denver at New Orleans. New Orleans starting a rookie quarterback, and their top 2 wide receivers are out of that game. Denver's probably going to have a win in this matchup, and I think Trey Fitty's going to get on track early on, probably get the Gaff heart pumping a little bit faster than he might like. I'm not as sold on that Atlanta coach against Seattle. If we were to rate which matchup is better, Atlanta and Seattle is much more of a coin flip game. Geno Smith can easily come in there and have a big game, or Kenneth Walker could have a big game. Much to the Gaff's love and deficit, because he's got Kenneth Walker in his lineup. Now, the Giants and Philly game is where the Gaff, I think, is going to get a lot of his points. That connection between Hurts and A.J. Brown. If Hurts plays well in the passing game, it's probably because A.J. Brown had a big game. I mean, if we look at him statistically, when he has big passing numbers, it's because of A.J. Brown. And because he's not going to get the rushing yards or rushing touchdowns like he was getting in the past, just thanks to Saquon Barkley's presence. On Trey Fitty's side, man, I'm loving this lineup here now. Breece Hall's got the Pittsburgh defense, which is pretty rough against running backs, and they're using Braylon Allen, I believe, a lot more than many might have expected them to. I'm with you. I'm not the biggest fan of the James Conner start, but he drafted that guy high, and he's riding him till the wheels fall off like the Cardinals are. Love Jaden Daniels getting his start, and I love the Deontay Johnson play. This is a dude who has been extremely productive lately since Andy Dalton got into the lineup, and I think that is a good start for him on that side. And that Washington-Carolina over-under is one of the highest of the weekend. Kyle Pitts is getting into a rapport. Kirk Cousins is really nothing not to like, and I think even if Devontae Adams has a big game, I think Wilson's going to draw enough coverage away from him to do well. I really like Trey Fitty actually in this matchup. I got it going the other way. I got Trey Fitty going 141 to the Gaff Attacks 135. And moving on to our next matchup, we go into a big one. We got a team that is overachieving and a team underachieving. We got the United Players, the Destroyers, going up against Kev's TNT. All right, man, Kev's TNT is starting to explode on people, man. 2 wins in a row. They're rocking and rolling. They rolling and rocking. They got Joe Burrow playing great football. I mean, this guy running for 40-plus yard TDs. Obviously, United Players. Bo Nix actually gave him a good game, man. What do you think of this one, Nix against Burrow?
Yeah, I mean, these are both teams that are really dealing with a lot of injuries. I mean, I covered the issues with the UP. Kevin TNT, I mean, the last 2 weeks losing Nico Collins and now Shaheed. I think they're gonna have to see how they can navigate this. Right. But I think at least this week they've got the better lineup of guys in. I mean, you mentioned it, Joe Burrow, Josh Jacobs, Joe Mixon, Mike Evans. Darnell Mooney has shown to be somewhat of a target out in Atlanta. I think that the Commanders' defense should be strong. I think the one thing he needs to do to really solidify this is to go find that head coach. Yeah. So I think if I'm the TNT, I go get that winning coach. I'm handling this. The other side, again, the mismanagement is going to come to a head this week. Okay. The issue I said, not having enough people on the roster. Well, let's look. The lineup. Oh, you've got DeAndre Swift in there right now at RB. Let me look. Okay, you've got Jaden Reed in the flex, wide receiver. Oh, no running backs on your bench. So, I mean, the UP is going to have to go hunt on in free agency and try to find a spot start. It's just really not a good position to be. I like Kev's lineup this week. Go get yourself a winning coach, and you can walk away with this. And again, I don't think he's underperforming. I think that he's showing what the previous manager could have done with a little bit more attention. I love what he's bringing to the league. I got Kev's TNT getting another older franchise and getting this one comfortably, I think, with that winning coach. I think he goes 119 to the UP's 89.
All right, I'm with you, man. I picked him last week. I think he's going to get a third win, and I think he might start to become a story here in the PPL. I really like the Joe Burrow start at Cleveland. Now, Cleveland's pass rush is good, and Joe takes a lot of sacks. But I think this is going to be a week that we see Jamar Chase get loose. Liking the Josh Jacobs play, he's becoming reliable. And Joe Mixon is a guy who is doing big things for Cavs TNT. With him in the lineup, along with Mike Evans, they're a team to be concerned with. Now, that Darnell Mooney start is the wild card there. I really think that he can do some damage for him. I really think he probably can upgrade at the tight end position. Dalton Schultz really isn't getting it done. And we'll see with Jackson Smith and Jigma, but he's in a good matchup. Now, on the UP side, I like Bo Nix. I like what he does with his feet. I think he's very athletic, and he's a playmaker. And he's going to be a guy that I think can do things now and in the future. Derrick Henry's got a great matchup. I think he'll be able to do big things, and I like T. Higgins. But other than that, man, I'm just not sure about the rest of this lineup. Washington, that coach projection just seems very inflated. I mean, not that Washington is going to lose, but I don't think it's that far-fetched that Carolina could pull an upset in that matchup. At the end of the day, I don't think Cavs TNT even needs a coach. I think they get this one regardless. I got Cavs TNT getting this one 117 to United Players 102. And moving on to our prestige matchup of the week, we got a big one, a rematch of Pantheon Cups 12 and 13, a rivalry renewed. These two teams have seen each other in the playoffs over the last couple of years as well. We've got Patty's Twins taking on Only for the Boss. All right, man, the Twins and Only for the Boss make their first appearance in the prestige matchup of the week for the 2024 season. Twins roll in, coming off of a bevy of mistakes, obviously, that we pointed out in our bag. But Brock Purdy's back in that lineup, ready to rock and roll, but he's got a tough matchup going up against Only for the Boston Chiefs. What you think of this one?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this one's going to be a slugfest, and mainly because these teams are beat to hell.
Yeah.
When you look at the guys that they're going to have to start, I mean, you look at Jonathan Taylor, I'm not loving this play. I'll tell you why. I mean, he's battling a high ankle sprain.
Yeah.
Didn't run last week. I'd be hesitant there. Jordan Mason, again, I think that he's going to have to start, but that Kansas City defense is hard hitting.
Yeah.
And so I think Jordan Mason's going to have to really work through some. Malik Neighbors still a question mark coming off the concussion protocol. And Evan Ingram, I mean, again, we'll see, but he's banged up. On the other side, I mean, Debo, I believe, is dealing with a wrist issue. We'll have to see how that factors. And Robinson's dealing with another ankle injury. And so when I look at this, though, Only for the Boss and the Chiefs having the week off, I think he basically, wasn't going to do things to jeopardize his head coach last week. Basically was like, I'll take the L. So I think he comes into this matchup just much better position.
Okay.
These guys are going against a San Francisco team that has shown spots where they can be got. Mm-hmm. And so it's really going to be the quarterbacks playing against each other. This is going to be a phenomenal matchup. Yeah. But again, I'm really concerned about, Brock Purdy's always had a strong run game, and I'm curious how Steve Spagnuolo is going to mix that up. I ultimately just think that Only for the Boss has a little bit more going for them, and I think that they're going to edge this one. And this one's going to be, I think, like I said, a brawl. I've got Only for the Boss going 115 to Patty's Twins 113.
All right, man, I'm going the other way here. You've sung the praises of the Detroit Lions, and that Detroit head coach is going to counter that Kansas City head coach at the end of the day. Now, they both have tough matchups. Both coaches could actually lose. Both coaches could actually win. So I think those coaches may actually cancel each other's out. I'm looking at Evan Ingram, man. He's a target hog. The first game that he was actually healthy that he finished, the guy got 10 targets and 10 catches. Loved that pickup. Thought it was a great pickup by the Twins. If Malik Neighbors is healthy and he's ready to go, the Twins can rely on big points there. Amon-Ra St. Brown finally got into the end zone last week. But now I am with you on the Jordan Mason and Jonathan Taylor questionables. It doesn't seem to be a lot of depth at RB. But, hey, Najee Harris balled out last week. And Devin Singletary may be getting back into that lineup. Two players that the Twins could rely on. Now, Brock Purdy, that Kansas City defense is going to be one of the toughest matchups of the season for him. But he's shown that even in tough matchups, he can make some things happen. It looks like the Niners are going to have all of their guys available, so there'll be no reason for him not to be able to get the ball. into the playmakers' hands. Now, on the Boston side, I think Zach Moss may be slipping down that depth chart in Cincinnati. I talked about Chase Brown a little while ago. Patrick Mahomes at San Francisco. Patrick Mahomes hasn't been putting up big points. Now, is this a game that he breaks out of his shell? He could break out of his shell at any moment. We know that about him. I love the Kyron Williams play. He's a guy that I know can put up big points. But Deebo Samuel is questionable, just like Malik Neighbors, man. Travis Kelce hasn't been as effective this season as he has in the past. And now Devonta Smith getting the Giants is a big thing. But all their horses are back in Philly. Devonta's not going to get the same amount of targets. That New Orleans coach is going to be, our defense is going to be interesting. At the end of the day, I think the Twins just have a little bit more. And if they put Xavier Worthy in that flex spot to counter only for the boss,
Right.
I think that they really have a good shot at this one. I got Patty's Twins getting the win here. 122 to only for the bosses 116. Alrighty, PPLers, thanks for another great week of PPL Live. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe. Good luck. We're in week 7, almost on to week 8. See you then. Have a good week. Good luck, and may the odds be ever in your favor.